What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just a web series. We're talking about Transformers 5, this episode number 12. And before I begin talking about what I want to talk about, I just want to thank you all at the Ragin Nation for giving me all the support that you have been giving me in the last couple of years, and also the last couple of days, because a couple of days ago, I did the VIP prize draw, and then afterwards, I actually got a number of emails as well as a number of supporters who purchased my t-shirt, the Ragin Nation FTW t-shirt. Thank you for all the support, and I am now sold out of smalls. I only have one large left. I have a couple of mediums. I think I have like 4 extra larges and a couple of extra larges. But once I'm sold out, I'm sold out. There were only 100 t-shirts made, and then a couple of you guys also purchased the Ragin Nation VIP All Access member badge. So thank you very much for all the support. The Ragin Nation would not be what it is without you guys, as well as all you guys who are just supporters, as well as the people who follow me on Twitter and also like the Ragin Nation Facebook page. Thank you so much for all the support. Now, let's talk about Transformers 5. Now, I don't know what's going to go on in Transformers 5, but I at least want to talk about what I would want to see in Transformers 5. Today's specific topic is final battles. Now, specifically, the final battle that's going to take place in Transformers 5. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have a couple of suggestions. But before we talk about that, let's just go back in time and look back at the final battles that we've seen in the previous 4 films. Now, what's very, very important is that we understand why they're fighting. Okay? They're fighting for a reason. It has to have a reason for it to take place where it takes place, so that, the fighting is an extension of the story. Okay, now all these films have, of course, been directed by Michael Bay, and Michael Bay's way of filmmaking, or rather developing a story, is that he develops the action first, and then he decides why they're fighting, okay? He wanted it to take place in Hong Kong, so that's why they're fighting in Hong Kong. Then they wrap a story around it. But anyways, let's just talk about the movies in sequential order and how the fights, or rather the final battles, played out. The first one, it took place in Mission City. And why they're fighting in Mission City? It's because they wanted to get the cube away from the Decepticons and hide it in the city. Not a very smart move, okay? You got buildings, you got innocent bystanders, you have a lot of things that can explode, mainly cars, and, well, that's why they wanted it to take place in the city. It's Michael Bay's playground. It's a great opportunity for a lot of destruction. Cars get stomped on, cars get thrown around, cars get exploded, buildings get trashed, people are running around, there's a lot of chaos, okay? So, that's why he wanted it to take place in a city. It's more exciting than having the fight take place in a plain open field, right? So, that's why they decided to change things up in Revenge of the Fallen, where they had the battle take place in Egypt. Now, in my opinion, it was not a very great final battle. It was just a lot of explosions, but I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about how it played out. Okay, now the reason why they took place in Egypt is because the Sun Harvester was actually located inside a pyramid. So that's the reason why they're fighting in Egypt. Okay, now of course this battle had a lot of layers to it. There were a lot of one-on-one fights. There was a lot of army versus U.S. Army versus Decepticons. There was a lot of nameless Decepticons. There wasn't a whole lot of Autobot battle taking place in that in the final battle. It wasn't a great final battle, okay, but it was quite spectacular in the explosions, and there was a lot of action, okay. But so we did the city battle. Now they're doing a battle in Egypt, okay. Now in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, they take the battle back to the city. This time in Chicago, and it's just really, really grand. I thought it was really exciting. It's got a lot of layers to it. You got the building toppling over in the driller scene. You got the squirrel suits, or the wingsuit jumpers. You got the fight where Optimus is against the Sentinel Prime. You got the other smaller battles between the Autobots, which wasn't really that much. You got the U.S. Army and the Wreckers against Shockwave. You know what? It had a lot of great moments, but it still wasn't that great, to be completely honest. But you know what? It was another city. It was another city battle. Okay. Why did it have to take place in Chicago? Why? It's because there was an alien invasion taking place there. Hotchkiss Gold Investments. That's Dylan's company. Its headquarters is in Chicago. Cybertron was advancing towards Chicago. So that's essentially why it took place in Chicago. But honestly speaking, when you really think about it, it could take place any other location. It doesn't have to be Chicago. All right? So that's another city battle for you. Now in the fourth film, it's also a city battle. But out of all the films, I think this one is the most appropriate, mainly because the factory of the KSI robots is in China. Okay, Megatron said that he wanted, or Galvatron said he wanted to detonate the seed in the largest city. Well, that would be Beijing, not Hong Kong. But they decided to detonate it in Hong Kong. Michael Bay just wanted the fight to take place in Hong Kong. He wanted to shoot in Hong Kong, okay? But that's essentially why it took place in Hong Kong. But having it in Hong Kong was cool, okay? Even though they did use Detroit, having it in Hong Kong was cool because they changed up the scenery. It doesn't look like your typical American city. You know, the Dinobots were roaming around Hong Kong. There's just a lot of great background material. Like, you know, it's a really great setting. Very dynamic setting. There's a lot of things you can do in Hong Kong that you can't do in an American city. So it was pretty cool. It was involved in the sense that it did make sense that it's taking place in Hong Kong. But essentially, it is Michael Bay's playground once again. Okay? So this brings us to talk about what could we possibly have in the next final battle. Let's just scrap out the idea of a battle taking place in the desert, okay? Let's just not have that, okay? Because we've seen the Scorponok battle. We've seen the Egypt battle. Yeah, that's enough desert for a while, okay? We don't need to see another desert battle. Another city battle? No. Let's not do another city. We've seen the cars explode. We've seen the cars get tossed around. We've seen like people running everywhere, innocent bystanders. We see buildings topple. Okay? Let's not do the city battle. Okay? Having it take place in Hong Kong? No. Okay? Here are my suggestions. I have 3 suggestions. Okay? I want it to take place in a military base. An American military base or a military base stationed in another country. I know if it's a U.S. military base, forward operating base, you know, stationed in the Middle East, it'll of course be taking place in the desert once again. But at least I want it to take place in a military base stationed in America. The reason why is because there's a lot of arsenal for the possibility for Combaticons. Let's say the Allspark Shard gets in contact with these vehicles, these military vehicles, and they become Combaticons. That's a high possibility, right? I mean, that is a great idea. Okay, just because it's my idea doesn't mean it's a great idea. Just because I said it. But I'm just thinking this is a great idea because it leaves the opportunity for some diversity. Now I know some people might be saying, but we've already seen a Decepticon tank, we've seen a Decepticon helicopter, we've seen a Decepticon jet. But it'd be cool to see, another type of Decepticon tank. You know, not a tank that was Brawl, not a helicopter that was what do you call that guy? Blackout. It'd be nice to have a space shuttle. All right. They could have a mobile artillery, a jeep. Right. All these guys can combine into Bruticus or some version of himself. But anyways, I just thought it would be a great opportunity to see, these aggressive versions of Decepticons. Let's go back to basics, where the Decepticons aren't super sports cars. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that done so many times. Let's have Decepticons be go back to being these aggressive vehicles, and that is military vehicles. So I'm totally down with the idea of a military base. Now, the second idea that I have would be the biggest freeway chase ever. Imagine Matrix Reloaded, the freeway chase in Matrix Reloaded, but done with Autobots and Decepticons. Now, if Michael Bay is the director and he wants to bring back the almost ultimate car chase of all time, they would do what the Wachowski brothers did, and that is build a long stretch of freeway, okay, like a 5 miles or 10 miles or whatever, and you know, do a freaking car chase as the most epic car chase ever. Okay, I know he's done a lot of car chases, Bad Boys 2, Freeway Chase in Dark of the Moon, The Rock, right? You know, even The Island. All right, he even used scenes from The Island in Dark of the Moon. But I think he could do a pretty awesome freeway chase that spans like going through the city. It starts off in the city, then through a freeway, then through a city, back through the freeway again. And it's because maybe Bumblebee is driving Mark Wahlberg, who has something. It's always got to be like a something that the Decepticons want. All right, and then you know, they're chasing him with Stunticons, they're chasing him with jets, they're chasing him with helicopters, Decepticon helicopters, of course, or whatever. And then the Autobots are in this freaking freeway chase that, you know, they have to transform in and out of robot modes. The Dark of the Moon freeway chase was cool, but it was only a minute long. All right, I'm talking about Matrix Reloaded length, okay? That's a 20-minute long freeway chase that involves all types of battle. Okay, so that's my final idea. I mean, that's my second idea for a freeway chase. Now imagine my final idea. That is an industrial complex. What I mean by industrial complex is that, like for example, a refinery area. You know, where they have these like there's a train track, and then there's a refinery of some sort. There's a manufacturing plant. It's a industrial area. Imagine the industrial plant at in RoboCop, okay, where they did the final battle, where they carried all that toxic waste. Or imagine that chemical refinery in Batman, okay, in the Tim Burton Batman. I'm talking about that. So you'd have like a train in the area, or and you'd also have these refinery vehicles. You'd have like you know, it's just a great playground for some great destruction, okay? And it's also not taking place in the city. It's also can take place inside the refinery plant, mainly because it's big enough. It's a warehouse, right? So I think a lot of great things can happen, and it's all about the location. The final battle is exciting because of the location. You can do it in a freeway, you can do it in a military base, you can do it in an industrial complex. Okay, and I just think that these are some great suggestions for the final battle. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this video. I just want to throw out my suggestions and what could take place. Why don't you give me some of your suggestions for where the final battle could take place, and tell me why they're fighting there. Okay? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and that's all I gotta say in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. Subscribe to me on YouTube mainly because this is the channel where you want to talk about Transformers 5. If you have any exciting ideas, and if you want to know more about what could possibly happen in Transformers 5, and you just want to talk about the movie, make sure you subscribe to this channel because this is what we're always talking about, alright? That's all I gotta say in this video, and I will see you next time. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. Peace. Okay, one person will win it, and the other person will win it. Now, that is not all. Okay, so that is the prize giveaway for non-VIP members.